This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the scheduled meetings of the Township Council established and adopted by the Township Council, which schedule designated time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. We are using an electronic amplifying and recording device in order to obtain a clear and audible record. We request all those wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly into the microphone. The recording device will be still utilized by the Township Clerk's Office for preparation of minutes and shall be the official record of the Township Council meetings. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Hutchison.
Present.
Mr. Smith.
He's on vacation.
Mrs. Stubbs. Present. Mrs. Winters.
He's on vacation.
Mr. Mannion.
Here.
Mrs. Estrada. Here. Mercado.
Present.
Mr. Leffner. Deputy Chief Earl. I'm sorry, I did that. Mr. Carlemere.
Here.
Ms. Everett. Here. Mr. Campbell.
Here. Thank you. We'll now have our first public portion. This shall be for agenda items only. Anyone addressing council, please raise your hand and you can approach the microphone. Seeing none, we'll close the first public portion. Minutes?
Waive the reading and accept the minutes of regular meeting June 13th and June 27th and the workshop July 6th.
I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison.
Yes to the regular meeting on June 13th and June 27th, and I'll abstain on the workshop for July 6th.
Mrs. Stubbs.
Yes.
Mr. Mannion.
Yes.
Mrs. Estrada. Yes. Mr. Mercado.
Yes. We have ordinances, second reading, and we'll have a public hearing after the next two ordinances. 0-16-11. This is the ordinance amending Chapter 81 of the Code of the Township of Gloucester entitled Vehicles and Traffic of the Code of Township of Gloucester. Chapter 81 allows a municipality to patrol areas that are privately owned. And this establishes a penalty for overnight parking, specifically at Commerce Square 3, the location of the former Super Fresh on Blackwood Clementon Road. I entertain a motion.
Could I just real
Yes.
quick ask a question? Will we pursue the other properties on Blackwood, Clementon, and something?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, but separately?
Yes, separately.
Okay.
Want to add to that, Deputy Chief?
We've been working with Mr. Carlemere, referring, we had to get permission from some of the property owners to sign off along with it, and that's in the works. These properties, we already had signatures, so we're recommending the amendment to give us the immediate. And while there's problems with those spots, these are really just trucks that are parked here or issues.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President. What's happened is it's triggered, they've gone on to other locations.
That's great. I remember talking about it.
Entertain a motion?
Yes. I'll make that motion.
Second?
Oh, I'm sorry, we have to have a public hearing first. Is there anyone wish to speak on this? Seeing none, close the public hearing. I entertain a motion now. Thank you, Dan.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
On the question, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison.
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs. Yes. Mr. Mannion.
Yes.
Mrs. Estrada.
Yes.
Yes. Our next ordinance is 0-16-12. It's an ordinance amending Chapter 53A of the Code Book entitled Flood Damage Prevention of the Township Council of the Township of Gloucester, County of Canton, State of New Jersey. The state has required local municipalities throughout the state to adopt regulations to promote health and safety and general welfare in regards to flood hazards. So having flood permits, having a flood administrator, and ancillary items that are involved when there's flood losses. We're now open for a public hearing. Seeing none, close the public hearing. I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison.
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs.
Yes.
Mr. Mannion.
Yes.
Mrs. Estrada.
Yes.
Yes. Next, we have our ordinances. It's first reading. They are being reintroduced. They were tabled at our last regular meeting. Mr. Carlemere, we don't have to introduce this as a amended. It's just
Correct. As long as that's why the clerk identified it as being reintroduced. We made the minor changes we talked about in prior meetings. So it's keeping the same ordinance number, it's just being reintroduced for first reading.
Thank you, sir. Ordinance 0-16-08, a public hearing will be at its second reading. It's ordinance amending Chapter 65A of the Code Book in the Township of Gloucester entitled Parks, Rules, and Regulation of the Code of the Township of Gloucester. This specifies that organized public meetings or events of a certain nature, if you have to have a certain amount of individuals, you must receive a permit. There's no use of loudspeakers or public address systems within the township park without written permission. That dogs, horses, animals, or pets, except service animals, are not permitted within our township parks. Vehicles, such as motorized vehicles, and what we've included was the popular hoverboards, are not permitted within our parks, and also talks about the hours of operation. All our parks are 8 a.m. to sunset, with the exception of Veterans Park and Gloucester Township Community Park, which are 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. I entertain a motion to accept the ordinance.
Second.
On the question, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mrs. Estrada? Yes.
Yes. Ordinance 0-16-09 is an ordinance amending Chapter 70 of the Code Book of the Township of Gloucester entitled Smoking Regulations. This would prohibit smoking within the boundary of township-owned land. Any property which is owned by the township, maintained, or in the possession of the township, including but not limited to municipal buildings, grounds, parks, playgrounds, active and passive recreation facilities, the municipal complex, Department of Public Works, our senior centers, the recreational building, public library, Point Aerial Park, Gabriel Davies Tavern. In addition to that, no officer or employee or any other person shall smoke in any municipal vehicle. So smoking is prohibited at any time on municipal buses. I'll entertain a motion to accept the ordinance.
Make that motion.
On the question, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mrs. Estrada? Yes.
Yes. Next, we have our resolutions of consent agenda. Any council person that would like to remove any of the resolutions, please speak up. Hearing none, I entertain the motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
On the question, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mrs. Estrada? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes, a particular note, I just want to highlight that there's a $50,000 grant from the Camden County Open Space Historic Preservation Trust Fund for the purpose of refurbishment, painting, and repointing of brickwork at Gabriel Davies Tavern. So it's one of the jewels in our town. We do not have any GT.gov access emails. I'll now open up our second public portion, which shall be for any item that the public chooses to address Township Council. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, and good evening again. My name is Dorset Kelly, and I came before you on a June 27th meeting that we had here, informing, seeking, and asking for assistance in the resolution of containing and/or eliminating the noise nuisance that continues to disrupt and impede on the quality of life for my family and the families of others in our home development. Nothing has changed with this nuisance bar, and we continue to be harassed almost nightly at this point with the loud and intrusive noise coming from this outdoor nuisance bar. What can council do to assist with this problem? Are there restrictions on outdoor bans within the township? If not, how can we begin to impose these restrictions? We are desperate to regain our quality of lives, our homes, and our neighborhood back to a peaceful and wholesome place we call home within Gloucester Township. We need action now, as we have had far too many interrupted afternoons and sleepless nights. And I've been told and understand that we do live in a residential/commercial area that has been zoned residential commercial. And understanding that, along with that, I would expect that both sides should be able to live peaceably or operate their businesses peaceably within that zoning structure. We are not receiving that as the residents within our community. And we do understand that our police members and force are doing the best that they can within the law. We need more action, and we're coming to you to find out what can be done. Does this place, and I shouldn't ask does this place, because I've been told that they do have the proper permits to operate as they are, but has any consideration been given to the residents within our community? Am I able to play something for you? Because we've been recording, just to give you an idea of what we're hearing, if I'm permitted to do so.
Sure.
And that's just something real quick. That was taken inside my home, right out at my patio door. I was not outside. I was not at the property line of the little lake that separates us. This was inside of my home. And obviously, this is a bad recording. And what we hear and what I hear is magnified nightly from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. That's what I hear and my neighbors hear constantly. The band only breaks for 20 to 25 minutes, and then this is what we hear again. Yesterday, Sunday, they started at 4 p.m. with the bands, a live outdoor band. I could sing the words with them. I mean, this has been going on far too long, and we're asking and seeking assistance.
I had asked the deputy chief, we had talked prior to the meeting, for an update on this, deputy chief, if you can advise council and president.
And we are Friday, Saturday night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, we're actively monitoring the band schedule that's on the Florida Public website, and we are putting officers with noise enforcement equipment on the scene. Friday night, I believe, was a rainy night, so that probably dampened it. Saturday night, again, we're examining the ordinance, we're still getting through the research and hope to move forward. We're meeting with the mayor and Chief Earl. The problem is the decibel level. He knows that at 10 o'clock it changes and it stops at 10 o'clock. Unfortunately, from an enforcement standpoint, the way our ordinance is written now, we have very limited enforcement options up until 10 o'clock at night because it's not reaching the decibel level for a violation. We've met with them again. Officer McLaughlin has met with them. I had conducted our annual liquor inspection this week, and we addressed it with them. And we're trying to have him be a good neighbor. However, we also have the summons that was issued for a previous violation that we did have, which you haven't gone back to court.
It's going to be next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, they're due to go back to court, and they had a mediation session. However, I'm not sure what's going to happen by the next time. We're certainly in contact with the municipal prosecutor, let them know our position and where it stands. But I'm not sure what he's going to do to try to remediate that, but we're going to certainly do what we can. So we haven't, it's very complicated with the ordinance, and we're working with the mayor's office and the solicitor's office to try and get you a better ordinance that's balanced, because it'll be, across the whole township. So, and I know that I believe, and Mr. Carlmer, you know better, that zoning-wise, we're trying to address some of those issues, whether it's community development issue also, which is beyond our purview. So.
And I would just also add, as I said last time, we very well understand what the ordinance says in terms of the decibels. I'm not sure that everyone truly understands what a 65 sounds like in a residential area. Again, for an outdoor band to be permitted to expound sound at 65 decibels within a residential area, it is extremely loud. Again, this is a poor recording, and it's inside my home. So 65, and I know that's probably a separate issue for us to look at down the line, but just to, again, get you to try to understand the impact that this noise is having on us as the residents in our lives.
Many nights a week does this go on?
The bands are scheduled Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The DJ is every other night. As a matter of fact, they're playing music right now. It's not to the extent of the band, but they're playing and we can still hear it. Again, I will say I'd rather deal with the band situation first as long as nothing else happens afterwards. But it could be 7 nights a week.
So the band, if they discontinued bands, it would be acceptable, tolerable.
It would be tolerable providing they continue at the same level that they are now. And again, keeping the DJ, because at one point we had a problem with the DJ. Though the band may have been lowered, his voice with the microphone or however they had the speakers was just as though he was a band. But to answer your question, it's a step in the right direction.
In your opinion, do you think additional landscaping or creating some type of wall or structure would that muffle the sound?
I do not believe landscaping would. He has stated that he has planted a few trees. What I do think may help, and this would need to be investigated, if he puts some type of sound barrier around the band to allow, if he wants to continue with the outdoor bands, and if we want to continue as a township to allow these bars to have an outside band, to have some type of noise barrier that will keep the music where it's meant to be. They're intending that music to be there for their patrons. And so it needs to be something that would keep that music within that environment and not allow it to go outside of that environment.
Mr. Campbell, I hate to put you on the spot. He's our township engineer. But have you dealt with anything like where landscaping or wall?
Landscaping, there's one time I've moved there, landscaping, but I haven't done a whole lot of landscaping. Obviously, sound walls, like you see along 295, at Whitehall. I don't pretend to be an expert on controlling those sounds, but obviously, if you have a wall that will be the source of the sound, you move the way it's designed, like the back, where people sit, which I'm assuming that was like the back. That might help. That will see that.
Deputy Chief?
Something I forgot to mention, we did have contact with Camden County Health Department who has voice sound metering folks. They did respond one day this week, however, I believe lowered the music. I don't know by chance or whatnot, lowered the music recording, so the county inspector took readings also.
Yes, that was last evening, so the representative showed up at about 8:15 or so, and the music had been turned down, when normally it goes until 9 o'clock on Sunday. So they were not able to get a true reading of the sound. For some reason, either he was informed that someone was showing up to take a meter, and it was turned down. So the reading that was taken on last evening was not reflective of the true band.
So you have court next Tuesday,
Yes.
and that's for noise violation.
We had issued for action for violations previously. I don't recall the exact dates. I believe that we've issued at least on 4 different occasions, and sometimes he's fined and he's paid the fine. This violation we arranged for the judge to hear from the residents their perspective, because in the past it was just the officer, the prosecutor handling, and mediation I believe was set up. We thought we made good progress with that mediation, with the initial reports back, but the situation really hasn't changed. So we're going to see what happens next Tuesday.
We had that court date, I believe it was June 17th, I believe. And so during that time, we had a mediation and a conference to ask if it was something that we could possibly work out amongst ourselves. And this was with the owner of the Laurie's. And of course, we, the residents, said, of course, we want to work in good faith. If you're working in good faith to try to resolve the matter, we want to do the right thing here. That was on Tuesday. On Friday, it was as though nothing had ever changed. And I spoke with him on that particular Friday because he came to do his self-reading on the property line. And I said to him, I said, do you understand what we're experiencing here? And he says, I'm at 65. And I said, I understand you're at 65, but what we're trying to get you to understand is the residents that live here, what 65 sounds like. You know, we're trying to ask you to work with us. As you can hear, this is not appropriate. And he's just kept repeating, I'm at 65. And that was the Friday after we had gone to court on Tuesday.
What would make life better for you and the residents there?
To remove the outdoor ban, that would be optimal if we could, but understanding that that's what he chooses to do with his business, I would like some restrictions put on this outdoor ban, at least to make that individual and business put in the proper retaining walls to retain that music with, again, in the area that it's intended to be within his business and not for us. We don't want to hear the music. If we did, we would go and patronize with Laurie's.
Would lowering the decibel level help if that was lowered in the ordinance?
I don't know. We would have to determine, what those decibels would be, what it would sound like at various levels.
Or putting a cap or a curfew on the time that the bands play?
I don't think that would work because again, then what we're saying is between the hours of, and let's just say we go of 6 to 8, we have to be exposed to that noise level. So with the time, I don't think makes a difference, albeit he did go from midnight to 10, which is nice, and we appreciate it because this was going to midnight, and I don't know if the officers worked with him on that accommodation. But again, the noise is the noise. Whether it's 1 hour, 6 hours, or 4, it's still the level of the noise.
Well, we'll see what the outcome Tuesday's, next Tuesday's court date. I'm going to ask the solicitor if he can pull the ordinance, see what type of legal ramifications or what we can do as a body, as a township to address this issue. I can't speak off the top of my head legally about this matter. Is that something advised or?
I made some notes last time, and then as we were speaking here, some of the comments that the deputy made as far as the zoning ordinance goes and stuff. Just as a suggestion. Anything else?
No, that would be all.
Thank you.
Dan?
I hear what you're saying. You're coming up here and you want council to rectify this problem. Understand that we're not sitting here not wanting to rectify the problem, but it's, and I know you know this, but it's a lot harder than simply writing a new law saying that they can't have a band or that they can't play music to a certain time, because he's got certain rights as well. And if we overstep our boundaries, not doing anybody any favors. Do you follow me?
I understand.
I want to help you. I can't imagine living next to what you're enduring. I can't. But I just want you to understand, it's not a quick fix.
Understood.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Miss?
Do I say my name?
Yes.
My name is Anna Marie Facenda. I live at 60 Red Bank Drive in Sicklerville. I'm having a little issue with my neighbor. I have pictures, so I don't know if you're interested in seeing it. We've been neighbors for 25 years. He brews beer and grows hops. I have a gazebo in my yard. Now it's all white lattice. He started embedding it in my lattice. So we had nicely said to him, is there any way you can put it down? Now I own the fence. I asked him nicely if we could put tacks or anything to accommodate him. It's his yard. He can do what he wants, like I can do what I want. He started this big thing. These pictures say it all, is how the outcome came out. If you don't mind taking it.
Could you bring him up here?
Yes, I can.
I just don't know where to go. I called the township 20 times, and I'm not getting anywhere, and it's disgusting. He's got bags of bull crap. He's got tires now in the front of his house, between my house and his house. Tires are, and I called him, he said that's separated. Okay, he took me down to the bull crap in it, and then saying he's throwing flamethrower. If you look at the very concerned if it's Zika or that, you know, I'm sorry.
Zika.
Zika, thank you. I don't want to get that. I have 2 children. I maintain my yard very nicely. I called, like I said, I called several times, and I don't know where to go from there. I don't want my husband getting into it with him. We approached him several times. He's got Christmas trees. To me, it's a fire hazard. Confidence someone puts a cigarette in his yard. It's ventilated smokes. I don't feed the food I have that my husband and I work hard for.
So it started off as hops.
Yeah, and he brings beer in his garage, and that's fine. Little, but it's fine.
Any good? Have you had any?
No.
No, okay.
And like I said, it's just bad. I've been driving over 25 years.
Okay.
One little thing, and this is the result I had. And I just don't think it's fair. I pay good tax money to live in a nice area. I live.
Nice neighborhood.
Wait, I do the way for people in the meeting, from Valari's.
Are you there?
I hear that music, so I'm with you.
Okay.
And my brother lives in the Stonebridge on townhouses. So, and he faces Valari music. I just don't know where else to go. I don't want to see trouble with my husband here, but if you can look at the pictures.
May we keep these or?
Oh, yes, you can. I have copies. I don't know what else to do when I time here. I didn't know if I was going to the right place or not. I have in-ground pool. I entertain in my gazebo. It smells like bull crap. And he has back, if you really look at that picture, where that big bush is, he's got the house back there. I don't think that's fair. He's a big yard back there. Why is he's out? And because it was a nitpick over the weed. I should have to eat with them things growing against my gazebo. Yeah, and I asked him, I said, now it's a post. What are the beans? And please, my husband, you know, we had a retaining wall, so my husband goes there and cleans, you know, leaves. And he accidentally, he accidentally did, but I think he pushed into it and it fell over and things just are broken. And because somebody gets hurt or something happened, the police guy came out and he said, all right, we have to raise the wall on my wall, because I own the wall. And, you know, I just don't want to have to look at that. I eat there. He's got a nice gazebo or deck. He doesn't have a weed on his deck. Why should I be, you know, I don't even know how to say it. You get what I'm saying, I don't. It's just, it's going on for 2 months. And that trash bag, that you can see that picture, has been there for 2 months. I called here constantly. They're probably sick and tired of hearing protein in. I don't know what else to do. I don't know if that animal or it's the bag of pieces. There's flies. I'm concerned with the flies, and there's going to be maggots. If there isn't right under the bag,
So have you contacted code enforcement?
20 times, at least.
And
20 times.
what was the response?
Somebody was out there and sprayed. Well, I said, my living room, I used to sit in my family room, I don't know what goes on out front, because I left my door in my backyard. But I've been sitting in my living room area, and I don't see anybody, now mind you, I could be in the bathroom and somebody could drive by. I seen somebody one time in a white car take pictures with a long lens, and I can tell them emphasize it. They need to get out of the car and smell what I smell. They need to get out of the car and see the bulbs all around these plants that he said, or that the township was telling me, it's higher, it's legal. You need to decorate his front. I get that. But then there's no crap in it. So my blood pressure must be right. But I hope you see what I'm saying. I don't know where else to turn.
The deputy chief just stood up, and code enforcement's under a police department, but
I'll find, see Officer McLaughlin in the back, man, we'll get an update on it. I'm not sure, I'm not familiar with it.
Okay. Well,
But
I
I
called somebody.
certainly will be in the morning.
Before you leave?
And, we'll
Can I have someone come in, knock on my door, and let me know you're here?
see Officer McLaughlin.
That's
She's
fine.
going to
You
get
got
on
it.
her, and we'll have a.
your name and phone number, write that down there.
Thank you, Deputy Chief.
You need my address, Bill?
Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, and Officer McLaughlin's in the back corner. Okay, thank you very much.
Have a great night.
Thank you as well. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Sargentoni. I live on Cecilia Drive in Blackwood.
Can I have your name again? I'm sorry.
Chris Sargentoni. I wanted to know if I could get an answer about the large tax increase. Initially, we were told that if a house was valued at 190, it would be 209. My house is valued at 197 and I'm up to $545. So, and when you look on, everybody else has a very large increase. And I just had another large increase 2 years ago, so I don't want an explanation. I'm sure you have one.
Okay, I can speak on the municipality. We increased, our increase was 11.2 cents this past year. That was attributed to a few things. One, we had storms
I
from
know,
last year.
I was at the April meeting when you talked about that.
Okay. In addition to that, the valuation of some of our properties, we lost $41 million in our valuations of our properties.
I know, so am I paying for the fact that there's empty properties? Am I paying for the fact that other properties are down? So I'm getting hit for that? Actually, my house isn't worth $197,000 either. I'm probably lucky if I get $140 for it. So I guess I have to, how do I get my house reevaluated?
Well, you can submit a tax appeal with the tax assessor's office.
And is there a deadline for doing that?
No.
So I can do that?
I'm sorry, it was April 1st?
It was April 1st, I have to wait for next year to do that.
No. October again.
So there's an October deadline also?
Well, you should get in to see if you have a right to go in and talk to the tax assessor. And he usually recommends residents to come in and speak to him sometime around October.
Okay.
That's when he gets ready to set.
So I know
Now,
that there's answers for this, but at the same time, what happened to the 2% cap? Was that just being ignored?
No, it's not ignored, and I'm going to let our CFO answer that with explaining the cap.
So you can bank the cap.
I understand that. And so 2 years ago, my taxes went up almost 6%. So I think you used what you banked. So if you use what you banked 2 years ago, you only had 2 years worth of banked 2%. And my taxes went up way more than 4%. So I don't know if you just have this imaginary bank where there's always 2%.
No, there's a worksheet that the state provides that is filled out. There are certain exemptions from the 2%, debt service being one of the exemptions.
That was one of the exemptions?
Debt service.
Debt service. And
So the more you spend and the more debt you have, the more you can raise the taxes, right?
there are certain exemptions from the 2%. There are certain exemptions from the 2% tax levy cap. If you do not raise it, you can bank it. So we were within the levy cap. That was the worksheet that was provided by the state of New Jersey.
So have you
And
done
that
anything?
worksheet is
What's
in
the
the
debt
municipal
look like
budget
for the
that's
last
on our
couple of years?
website.
Has the debt gone up or down over the past couple of years?
I believe that it stayed pretty consistent, but there are other exemptions. The worksheet is in our municipal budget that is on the website, so you can go onto our website and find the municipal budget, and it's, I believe it's page probably like 3.
Okay, so there's nothing preventing this from happening again next year and the next year?
We fill out
There's nothing preventing this from
Yes, we
happening
have-
next year and the
Yes,
next
we
year?
fill out a worksheet, a cap levy worksheet that's provided to us from the state of New Jersey, and we are within those guidelines. We
Because
cannot-
you're not getting rid of your debt. That's what you
We
said.
have to pay our debt, just like
You
everybody
haven't.
has
You
to
said in
pay.
the last 2 years it hasn't really gone down, so you're not paying down the debt, and so that's why you can raise the taxes.
What is our debt limit? I think we're quite a bit under our debt limit.
Yes, we can raise it 3%, and we're, I think they're like 1.5, I'm not sure quite, but it's below 2.
But I think we're nowhere near the debt limit for what the town could borrow.
Well, it doesn't matter, there's debt. I mean, you know, I have debt, everybody has debt. The bottom line is, everyone that I know, their taxes have gone up a whole lot more than they anticipated. I don't know where it was told to the Gloucester Township patch that $190,000 home, your tax would only go up $209. Because like I said, mine is evaluated at $197, I went up $545.69.
That would be the municipal tax. 29.
It doesn't matter, because I can't.
Yes, it does matter,
I
ma'am.
can't, but it does, it doesn't,
It-
because at the end of the line, I've got so much money in the bank, and I'm paying out another $545, it doesn't matter who it goes to.
If
My
I
check is
can-
made out to Gloucester Township. You're Gloucester Township. All those other little things are underneath you. I don't make out one little tax to the fire department, another little tax to the school department. I make out a tax check to Gloucester Township, and that's you.
May I answer?
Sure.
Thank you. After every dollar, 29 cents of each dollar goes to Gloucester Township. You have 2 school districts, you have county taxes, you have fire taxes, and you have a library tax that you pay towards. We collect all the money for all those entities, and then we cut a check out to all those entities. So when you write a check out for your taxes, they go to Gloucester Township. We don't hold on to that other 71 cents. That's dispersed to those other entities.
So tell me, did Camden County taxes just go up?
Yes.
How much of this is Camden County taxes?
4 cents, and the schools were
4
11.
cents.
And the schools were 11. And some of the districts went up, depending on what district. I'm not sure of the exact rate, because there's 6 districts,
Fire districts.
5 districts. Yes, thank you.
Some years are tough. Okay? Some years are tough and others aren't so tough. So in
Well, you
prior,
know what? Nothing's getting better in this township. Go ahead.
I listen to you.
Go ahead.
I expect the same amount of respect.
I'm listening.
Okay. So some years are tougher than others. Some years you don't have a tax increase.
That hasn't happened to me since I moved here.
Okay. Well, then just check the records. Okay?
I have.
Okay.
I have it in front of me. I went back to 2010.
Okay, if that's what your research is telling you, then I can't say anything that's gonna make a difference.
I just looked at my income tax that I paid from 2010 to today.
Okay?
It's not what my research is telling me, it's the truth. I can read you exactly what my taxes were for the past 5 years. I started out at 6304, 6399, 6504, 6863, 6916, 7462.
So what portion of the tax bill is that?
It's the portion that comes out of my pay.
Okay, that's fine. You know what? Council President educated you on the breakdown of the tax bill. We're talking about 2 different things. I'm talking about oranges, you're talking about apples.
I'm talking about what I pay.
We only control a portion of your tax payment.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else? Yes, sir?
Good evening, Council. Ray Powell, Ariel. Listening to the conversation about the residents down at Valari's, and maybe Mr. Cantwell would weigh in on this. I don't know what direction the speakers are in where that band is playing, but anytime there's a noise issue in a residential area, the common ground between the business establishment and the residents is to turn the speakers in the opposite direction. That would be the wooded area for Valari's. Also, this is where Mr. Cantwell may weigh in, an acoustical shell, like they would use at an outdoor amphitheater. And it has the acoustical ability to absorb sound, and what sound does go out goes back once again towards the woods. So turning the direction of the speakers and putting possibly, I don't know what the cost is, and it's a private business, but maybe you'd like to weigh in on what may be that acoustical shell?
There's probably several objects similar to that, sound walls, the acoustical shells, something to absorb the sound. They're all available. Again, I don't have any real experience with sound control, noise control. It's a kind of a unique field by itself. But I don't know if there's any way under the current ordinances in the township that you can require somebody to do that on properties.
I'm making that more of a suggestion to, this lady's appealing to her township government to help mediate or find middle ground on this, and maybe if we look into this, this might be a viable source of that compromise. If it's feasible, if it's cost effective to the business, and it would be palatable to the residents. Just a thought.
Thank you for that suggestion.
On R1607, that once again was,
Which number?
I'm sorry, 209.
Okay.
You're asking for more money for artificial turf?
Yeah, it's a change of $290.
Why was that not figured in when the cost estimates were
There
done?
was certain things that were taken away from the project, certain things that were added. They're going to make it ADA compliant over at Valley Brook for a field there. So those are some of the things, but it's a net increase of $290, Mr. Balduro.
And that was for the Valley Brook field specifically?
No, there are other fields from both over at Gloucester County Community Park. Originally, it was supposed to be a soccer field, and now that particular field was field hockey and lacrosse. So there were certain changes that were made from the initial bid.
Okay, now, if I remember correctly, Mr. Cardis had indicated that the fields would cost approximately, if not exactly, $600,000 per field. The question I asked at that time, I don't remember getting an answer on that, was if you're putting two adjacent fields in artificial turf on the same complex, I'm sure you can get a better deal than $600,000 per field. With the crew there, the equipment there, materials there, all being shipped to one place, I got to imagine that there had to be some type of better deal this township could get than $1.2 million for two fields. That's $600,000 apiece. Do we have knowledge as to whether the contractor and installer made this a little easier for the taxpayers of Gloucester Township?
Made this a little bit easier?
Sure. At $600,000 per field, two fields on the same complex at the same location, you got to be able to get a deal. I mean, Pep Boys, you buy 3 tires, you get one free.
I'm not sure if we got the best price. If obviously you don't believe we have the best price for our fields, but we're happy with the product so far. We're looking to get a CO for those for those fields probably within the next 30 days, and we're moving forward.
I understand wanting to get this done, to be a premium community and have these turf fields, but isn't it your job to find the best deal? You hold the purse strings for the taxpayers of this town. When you said you didn't know if you got the best deal, I prefer that you did know that you got the best deal.
Okay, thank you. Do you have anything else to add?
I'd be happy for you to respond to that.
Ray,
All right.
no matter what we do, Ray, we're not going to have a good deal for you.
This lady came up here and asked why her taxes are so high, and the borrowing that goes on is helping those taxes to continue to go up. Answering for that, and I don't do it with animosity, I just want you to answer and tell people when they get to see the video, because obviously we don't get a great turnout here, what the answers to those questions are.
I've seen the product. I'm happy with the product. I believe our sports organizations will be happy with the product of the 4 fields that we have.
Are you happy with the price we paid for them?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there anything else, because your time's up?
Oh, well, no one else's time was up when it ran well
No,
past.
Ray,
I have one
anything
very
else to
important.
add?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
In my comments about taxes, I can find one thing in this township that I absolutely get my money's worth with, and I'm going to praise that right now, and that's our Gloucester Township Police Department. On several occasions back in the southern end of town known as Ariel, not Sicklerville, the police have come out and handled quite a few incidences in our area. We know that Sicklerville and Ariel, whatever folks prefer to call themselves, have some issues back there. The police have always responded, have helped out a great deal, and in many cases have shown a great deal of compassion to the residents in Ariel in some very, very heart-wrenching moments. With all the turmoil that's going on in this country right now between the citizens of our country and our police departments, I think that we are extremely blessed to have the police department that we do. We are a small city, and we've got a large police department. We've got a lot of people, and we don't have these incidences. We don't have any issues with our police and the citizens because our police department reaches out to our citizens, treats them with a great deal of respect. Not to say that other police departments don't, but it is noteworthy when our police department does the job that they've done, and I personally experienced that, like I said, in a heart-wrenching situation. This police department came out and showed a great deal of compassion and handled it very, very well. I'm thankful for a police department that we have every day, and thank you.
Thank you. Agreed. Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else? Mrs. Carr.
Joanne Carr, Timber Birch. At the last meeting, I came about the aggregate and said that I was paying less than what the aggregate had offered. Just wanted to let you know, 2 days later, I got my next month's bill. I'm now happy to go into the aggregate because it was considerably higher. And in all fairness, I wanted you to know that was God taking care of me, that I didn't have to think too hard.
Thank you for that. You're not the only one. I received an email the following day from the speaker at our last meeting that was incorrect in some of the statements he made as well. I pulled out my PSNG statement, and I have a reduction as well. So
Okay.
thank
You just
very
never,
much for bringing that
you
to
just
our
never
attention.
checked yours, but the
No,
next
I
bill
didn't.
came out.
My night, and I drove up to Vermont saying, "Dang, am I gonna be paying more?"
Okay, the next question I wanted to ask was about the tavern. I wanted to thank you for all the things that you're doing there with the windows and everything. On your explanation, if you look at your explanation for the resolution you're doing tonight, it mentioned about the removal of the powder room. That has nothing to do with the grant that's being used for the windows, correct?
Bear with me for a second. That was window work.
It was
some of the,
213, resolution
reporting
16.07,
some of the brick
213.
there. Brick repointing.
It's the windows and brick repointing. But in the explanation, it started out with something about with the removal of powder room.
That'll be amended. You're correct.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with
Well,
this. That'll
you
be
know
a
what?
separate.
Let's follow up on that. Road. It was an error?
It's the resolution before we just went in after it's with.
Okay.
And it's the one. I'll take it tomorrow.
Sorry, Rob.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, after we're going to go back and amend that.
Okay.
After our
And I
second.
just wanted to let you know that I heard at Main Stage out there, they sounded really good, and you're doing a good job. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the second public portion. I want to go back to resolution R16 07-210, no, excuse me, 213. Resolution authorizing application to Camden County Open Space Historic Preservation Trust Fund for a grant for the purpose of window refurbishment, painting, and spot brick and repointing of the brickwork at the Gabriel Davies Tavern. As Ms. Bowles mentioned, within the resolution, it had the removal of the powder room. I'll entertain a motion to amend that to exclude the powder room.
I'll make the motion to amend and redact the powder room from the resolution.
Redaction. On the question. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes to amend.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Minnion?
Yes.
Mrs. Strato?
Yes.
Mr. Repano?
Yes to amend. And now our polling of directors.
Deputy Chief Harkins?
Yes. Council, just want to fill you in on a few things. We had our opening for the summer, our Coffee with a Cop program today at Starbucks. Gloucester Black Month. It's a great job by Officer McLaughlin, Officer Rios, our community relations. I stopped out there and we had a fantastic turnout, and it was a great interaction with the community today. Our junior police academy program is about to start. It's at maximum capacity. Another great contribution. Chief Earl's on vacation, and I know he wanted, we spoke and speaking regularly over the weekend. And it's been a humbling type of weekend for us. Our officers are feeling apprehensive and saddened by the events that have occurred. But we have been really uplifted by the community of Gloucester Township. Just moments before I walked over here, a resident walked in with 4 boxes of pizza delivered to the briefing that was occurring. We've had food trays and just acts of kindness, kind words and emails, which is really goes a long way with what's going on nationally. And you represent the community. I wanted to thank you for all your support. Just continue to ask, be the
very proud of this police department. And I have some friends in the police department. I'm very proud to call them my friends. On a different note, I drove up to Canada, pretty much, 15 miles south of the border on Saturday. Left at 3 a.m., got there, turned around, and came back. I was exhausted. But I went to Barnes & Noble, and I picked up an audio book on CD. I walked in, I just grabbed something, and it was called The Outpost. It was about what's going on in Afghanistan. And I'm embarrassed to say that I really didn't know much at all about what's happening over there. I really didn't, and I'm truly embarrassed. But we're still over there, and our boys are still getting killed over there, and we're still trying to do a wonderful thing over there to help those people. And prior to this weekend, I would come in contact with a military person, and I would possibly say thank you and feel awkward doing it. I don't feel awkward anymore. I truly mean it. I thank them because they are giving more than you can possibly dream of. So I just want to say that. Thank you for coming.
I'd like to thank everyone for being here. And for those of us who are with our faith, let's please place all of our energies right now in the state of our country. Unifying groups, unifying us as a country together. It's very important for us to progress and to become the great country that we aspire to be. It cannot be done on separate legs. It has to be done together. Secondly, I am very proud of our police department. I call it and say so regularly. I'm sure Chief Earl's tired of getting my call. I'm very proud to be part of this body, a group of people who live in a wonderful township and do the best they can to support everyone in the township. And as you know, you can't please everybody, but you try to do the best you can by everyone. I think it's always important to recognize that, and it is a tough job. As a newbie here, I recognize it's a very tough job to be here. But our focus and our goal is to do what's best for this township. And that's with your input. So I appreciate you being here to let us know what we need to focus on and things that we need to look at. And it's always good to hear from everyone. So you do know how to focus your energies and make us the best place to live, work, and play. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. And I also truly appreciate the Gloucester Township Police Force. Great words you spoke, Deputy Arkins. I appreciate everything that you and your men do. Thank you all and have a wonderful week.
Thank you all for coming out, and I just echo what everyone else has said before me, so thank you everyone and have a good week.
Earlier, prior to the meeting, Councilman Yoon and I were sitting down and having some dinner. And one of my favorite classes in college was a class called Ethnic Minority Relations, where we sat in the classroom for 15 weeks for 4 hours a week, and we talked about race. And we talked about stereotypes. And I recall saying, this is back in 1991, I recall saying, yeah, I do like eating rice and beans. You know, that's not a myth, you know. And yeah, I do like salsa music, and that's not a myth or a stereotype. But it provided an understanding. There was a room of 25 freshmen sitting in a classroom talking about race. And we found out that was more that united us than divided us. We all wanted the same thing. We wanted a better life for our families and for ourselves. And in the past week, what we've seen in our country, and when you're an elected official, people always want to pick your brain and go, what do you think about this? What do you think about the election? What do you think about that guy? Or what do you think about this particular issue? And all I say is pray for the lives that were lost this past week. Pray for their families. Pray for our country. There's too many folks that are saying them people or those people. And I think that we have to have a better understanding of where people are coming from. And that, once again, that we have more in common than we have than what divides us. And something that the deputy chief said, it was one of the movies that we saw in that particular movie, called Do the Right Thing. And I think that if you have an opportunity to see that movie, it talks about race. And I think sometimes people tend to shy from conversations about race. But I think that discussion needs to take place. And I think that there has to be a greater understanding of the roles that we have in society and what our responsibilities are. And again, when I think about our police department and people talk about community policing, I think it starts here. This is ground zero of community policing. That was something that when Chief Earl took over is the hallmark of his administration as the police chief of this township. That children in our community and families in our community, they see Officer McLaughlin or Officer Rios or the deputy chief in their community and part of that community, embedded in that community, part of the fabric of our community. And I think that, again, it comes to better understanding. And when you try to explain, my son's about to turn 15 in a couple weeks, and we were watching sorry I'm being long today, but we were watching the O.J. Simpson Made in America documentary on ESPN. And they had the 1992 riots where Rodney King and the officers were not convicted. And Alex looked at it and he goes, "Was that from the 60s? I said, "No, that was 1992. And I remember seeing that in college. It was April 29th, 1992, seeing riots. And then 2 years ago when we saw riots in Ferguson. And I said, are we going backwards? And I just shake my head because I think we're better than this. No, I know we're better than this. And so I just ask that everyone just say a prayer for those that lost their lives and pray for their families and get a better understanding of where people are coming from. So with that, I want to thank you for your comments tonight. Thank you for coming out this evening. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I would like to say one more thing, Council President. I retract what I said, Mr. Argus. I said for your men, as I look back there, Officer Harkins, what I truly meant to say was men and women from our Gloucester Township Police Force. Thank you.
He's new. He'll learn. I entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? All those in favor? All right, thank you, everybody.